Oh, wow. So I did that whole video and was talking about the whole custody drama I went through with my ex-wife and this young father that I met that's traveling from Colorado to meet to see his son that his ex-wife has gone out of, or baby mama, whichever, has gone out of his way to stop him from seeing because, yeah, Colorado's a move-away state, and parents can do that when they want to fuck with the other parent. And I forgot to mention the really screwed up thing that Priscilla did to me. So anyway, I'm not going to open the case, but this thing here, that's her. That's the bass guitar that my girlfriend's boyfriend gave her. That's interesting. Oh, here's the books. Yeah, there's books here. We got Bass for Beginners, How to Play Bass in 7 Steps, and also we got How to Play Bass. Goes back where she left him, blocking the fucking walkway in my apartment. This is pretty much all her mess here. Yeah, obviously she's more interested in staying the night with that guy, though, than actually learning how to play bass. Oh, no. Let's see what's going on with her mess here. She didn't leave the vibrator out. She brought that there so they can play with it. What's this? Oh, that looks like one of her wigs. Oh, that's her bag of wigs. Yeah, that's her bag of wigs. Hey, if you're a black woman, just throwing that out there, and you want a white guy to really dig you, Afro puffs, twisted braids. I don't speak for every white guy that likes black women, but don't be ashamed. Black women, don't be ashamed of your natural hair. Don't, because, yeah, your natural hair is your real beauty. It's your inner beauty. A woman that's rocking Afro puffs or rocking nice twisted braids or even a big fro that's like nicely teased out. Oh my God, that rocks my world. But if you ordered your hair on Amazon and you keep it on the floor in a bag like that, that's some fake shit. Just saying. So anyway, this is the most screwed up thing that happened today. There's one of her phones. What's we got going on here? I don't even know what that shit is. Earbuds. I don't know. She's got all her crap here. What a fucking mess. It's ridiculous. God, I want this woman out of my apartment so bad. There's her laptop. What's this? Oh, that's her, she's diabetic. That's her insulin pen. Apparently she feels she can live without that. Yes, I see you, Sambo. I know. She hasn't been here to feed you. I'll feed you, buddy. That's my cat, Sambo. He's doing his plop. He's a good boy. Anyway, this was the most screwed up thing that happened tonight. So I'm talking to the bartender, Lorraine, who apparently never realized that Priscilla and I are a couple. She's had some problems with Priscilla in the past that kind of revolved around Priscilla going in there and singing karaoke and hanging out and not actually buying anything. Hey, if you go to a karaoke show, you need to buy something from the bar. You need to support that bar and that karaoke show. Even if you don't drink alcohol. Last night, I went to... I went there, I got there about 1:15, and I did go to the Wander Inn. I had a bit of a hangover from my day drinking. Didn't feel like drinking. I ordered a Coke. I went to Lorraine, I ordered a Coke. That's $1. I gave her $3. It's $2 just for being cool and taking care of me, and I appreciate the Coke, and I appreciate this bar. Not drinking right now. But apparently Priscilla had been regularly coming in and not buying anything. And at one point, Lorraine put her hand down on that. Apparently she'd never noticed that we were a couple. I was kind of like, how did you not notice that? And then I kind of told her a little bit about what's going on. And Lorraine and I had a pretty deep talk. And Lorraine just lost her mom. That's rough. And Lorraine's in her early 60s. So, I mean, nobody's mother lives forever. And I mean, I'm in my 50s, so I worry, you know. I worry that someday my mother's going to be gone as well, but I hope to God that I outlive her, because I know she's lost one of her babies, and I can't even imagine the pain of losing your child. One of my friends I was hanging out with at the Wander Inn today, she lost her child. Her child was about 8 years old. She told me that she nearly killed herself after that, but she managed to push through it. I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine the pain of that. No parent should outlive their child. They just shouldn't. It's just not the natural order of things, and it's rough. Anyway, so having this conversation with Lorraine about Priscilla, and it's like, yeah, it's kind of whack. Like, I show up, and she just, as soon as she realizes I'm in the bar, she sneaks out the back door. She just can't even fucking deal with me. And then Lorraine's like, she's like, I don't even know what to do about her because she left her key here. I'm like, oh, her keys? Show me the keys. Because I'm thinking she left in her vehicle, and she's got this giant string of keys, like this. Like I've mentioned it before, it's like, well, I don't like driving her vehicle because it hits my knees, which messes with me when I'm driving. And it's just a real burden to deal with that giant fucking string of keys and dangly things. So curious what keys she left. And these are the keys she left. Yeah, these are the keys she left. Let's see if I can get this to focus here. That's, yeah, I can't quite get this phone to focus on it, but there we go. That's me. That's me, and that's her and her friend, and I think her friend's son, as we're on a roller coaster in Six Flags in Atlanta. But yeah, that picture, I bought that. And that decorative keychain that matches the picture, I bought that. And that keychain there, that's from the U.S. Air Force Academy that was doing some recruiting at the International Robotics High School Robotics Championships that I took my daughter Allison to about 3 years ago in Houston. And granted, it's a freebie. I didn't pay for it, but that's something that I got on my trip with my daughter to Houston. So yeah, very much mine. And that is the key to my fucking mailbox. You know, the other day I was trying to find the key to my mailbox and I couldn't fucking find it. I miss a lot of mail. I mentioned the other day that I just found an envelope that was dated February 2nd from Arizona DES, telling me that I needed to give them updated information regarding my food stamps if I was to keep getting them. Now I would imagine by February I was working for Amazon, so I wouldn't have qualified for it anyway. So, you know, it wouldn't have really changed the outcome. So I guess I could say no harm, no foul. But the reality is that I didn't get that letter in a timely manner because that woman had commandeered my mailbox key. But wow, she left that key and its keychains, which are both pretty sentimental, at the bar. And when I shined a light on that picture and I showed it to Lorraine and said, "Look, that's a picture of me right there. That's me. That apartment is in my name. She's not even on the lease. That's not her key. That is my key. That is my keychain." And yeah, when I showed that to Lorraine just gave it to me. And yeah, here's mail. Anyway, Priscilla is never, ever getting that keychain back. I'm no longer keeping that keychain in my home. I'm going to keep that keychain probably in my car. On my car. I don't know. Maybe I'll keep it down at Pack Store, but I'm not. All that mail she hasn't brought in. And when she brought them, even if she did bring that mail in, God knows when I'd get it, you know. She's the reason that I don't get legal notices when I need them. Yeah, I'm sick of it. I just really want her out of my home. Probably, I'm so convoluted. Like, part of me wishes that I was in bed making love to her right now, but for the most part, I just want her to fuck out of my home and out of my life. And definitely want her out of my mailbox. I can't believe she left my fucking mailbox keys at the bar. Anyway, that won't be happening again. That will definitely not be happening again. In fact, I'm going to put them inside my car right now so that doesn't happen again. I did send her a picture. I emailed her because I've been I've sent 2 emails to her so far telling her, hey, you know, with a screenshot showing the electric bill, because I get my electric bill in my email, saying, hey, I need your half of this. Still haven't got the electric bill money. Now, I did get the rent money. I didn't get the electric bill money. And and no response from the email either. Anyway, I know that's a good email address. I've got emails from her on that before. Anyway, yeah, I sent a picture of the keys. I asked her in a pretty curt and short manner, why are you leaving my mailbox key at the Wander Inn? Why are you taking my mailbox key to the Wander Inn? I haven't got a response yet. And as you see, she's not here. She's staying the night with somebody else. Hey, kitty. Oh, all the stray cats around here. Yeah, she's... Anyway, that's freaking ridiculous. Yeah. Hopefully she hasn't made a duplicate of my mailbox key. But, yeah, that's the last time that shit happens. Fucking ridiculous. Anyway, I should wrap this up. I've just wasted like an hour and 12 minutes. Although I don't dare go to sleep, I need to stay on my overnight schedule, and so I'm not, so I'm awake and not too tired when 7 p.m. rolls around tomorrow and it's time to work at Amazon. I expect tomorrow I'm going to be back in working in inbound again. I feel like they need me in inbound, although I tell you, I'm really enjoying working in outbound, just being the guy that unloads the empty totes. It seems like such a trivial job, but God, it's just so much fun. And it's nice to not have to worry about, bringing my box cutter with me. And today I didn't even put my gloves on. Like, it's like, wow, I'm doing a job that's not dirty at all. Like, I don't need any gloves. I just move these things around. It was a little more it wasn't as much of a mental challenge doing just the back dock as opposed to where I was working three docks and in 4 zones. It was not quite the same challenge. And I did have one really weird moment where the other guy, and he was a Filipino, not that race matters, but language barriers matter. A Filipino guy, and his English is not really good. I really struggled to understand him, but he said he was going on break, and I'm like, cool. I said, I'll take my break when you get back. Just let me know when you're back. And he was gone. And granted, the breaks were 15 minutes, but the reality is that, when we're in that section, we're a good, 5-6 minutes walk away from, we're a good solid 5-6 minutes walk away from where the break room is. So yeah, if we only get a 15-minute break, like, gosh, got so much shit over it. That's all Priscilla's stuff. Well, I mean, the CD case there is mine, but all of that junk that's blocking my access to it is hers. God, I just want her nest gone. I want it gone. And all of that stuff that obstructs the walkway to this is ridiculous. Like, as dirty as my room, at least the pathways are clear. This is fucking ridiculous. Yeah, what was I gonna say? Oh gosh, I'm tired. I need to stay up so I can stay on my schedule. I feel like going for a bit of a walk. Anyway, no, sorry, my train of thought completely derailed. I hate it when that happens. Oh yeah, so Filipino guy came. I finished up with my truck. Now, in the section I was working today, I've got a much larger area for buffering, and by buffering I mean not putting it in the loading zone, but just sticking it someplace aside where I can quickly move it, where it's out of the truck, but I can move it to the loading zone where the truck can still be, where the truck trailer can still be swapped out. I completely emptied the truck. I had the buffer zone full, I had the loading zone full, and he still hadn't come back. So I went down the path to the so the next 3 docks is where I was working Wednesday night. There are actually 3 docks between the dock I was working today and those 3 docks. And the 3 docks that are between them are for garbage. My daughter sent me I don't know if I've mentioned this in any of my vlogs, but my daughter sent me a picture of a sign that they were taking down in her warehouse that said, I think it said Gaylord dumpster, it said Gaylord dumper, which like sounds kind of silly out of context, and like, what the fuck is a Gaylord dumper? But anyway, the trash, so there's basically 2 types of trash that are kept in these giant, and by giant I mean like 4 foot by 4 foot by 5 foot bins. And some of them are cardboard, most of them are reusable in plastic bins. So I was informed those are called Gaylords. Well, now they're just calling them bins because, apparently Gaylord is an inappropriate term, but that's what they used to be called, as Gaylords. And the places where they get dumped are called Gaylord dumpers. I forget what the signage is in my warehouse. It definitely doesn't say Gaylord dumper. I think it says, I forget what it says. But anyway, those things go into compactors, and then but apparently it gets compacted, and then an automated thing like shoves it into a truck to be hauled away. And there's the next 3 docks over, that's what's there. And those compactors and the thing where it drops it down, and there's something that's under the floor that handles it. It's really weird. When I'm standing there and I'm watching that thing in operation, it literally looks like a portal to hell. I just see stuff getting crushed and thrown and falling, and it's disturbing and trippy to watch. As for the 2 different types of Gaylords, one is for trash and the other one is for recyclable corrugated cardboard, which of course would include like brown paper and stuff. I try to make sure anything that could be recycled as corrugated gets into those bins. In fact, it's not unusual for me to go up to the trash and see something in the trash that is recycled as corrugated and pull it out and put it over. And it's, I don't know, to me, every little bit, everything that can be recycled should be recycled. I'm kind of a tree hugger like that. But yeah, they both get done. I'm not sure which is which. I see the guys, and I think they're subcontractors. I don't even think they're employees of Amazon. As I've said, at Amazon, everybody wears a safety vest that kind of indicates what their position is. And all the people that empty the Gaylords and they do like kind of cleaning, just like sweeping and emptying the trash and emptying the giant cardboard recycling bins. They also empty the bins for scrap wood, basically pieces that fall off of wooden pallets and whatnot. That Gaylord actually gets brought to me when I'm working an inbound to get loaded in with the wood pallets. So it's handled by the same people that handle the wood pallets. And how far they go to recycle it, I don't know. I want to believe that they empty that out and take any boards that are still salvageable and reattach them to pallets with new nails. And then the pieces that are too small to do anything with, I would hope that they grind it into sawdust. I had a conversation with somebody a while back about, I wish everybody switched to plastic pallets. The plastic pallets are so much more durable. And I'm like, yeah, but plastic is hell on the environment. Plastic's literally destroying the earth and destroying the oceans. So wood pallets, they might be kind of a pain in the ass, and they might be kind of ugly, but wood pallets are remarkably environmentally sustainable. And he looked at me kind of funny, because who expects the pallet guy that walks around the place with the pallet jack to be so concerned about the environment, right? But he looked at me, he's like, really, how? I said, well, wood's a completely renewable resource. It comes from trees. And most of the wood that is used to build pallets is substandard wood that's not good enough for anything else. A lot of it is recycled wood, scrap lumber, cut up furniture, cut up, leftover scrap stuff. So it's it's generally substandard and recycled wood to begin with, and it's a natural thing that grows from that literally grows on trees, from trees. I said, but a lot of it's like recycled material to begin with. And then these pallets, when they go out of here and they go back to the pallet yard, they get physically rebuilt as many times as they can. That's why a lot of the boards are mismatched. That's why we keep all the old boards. And so they just hammer them back together as well as they can. They don't got to be pretty. They just got to hold stock. They just got to hold stock and be sturdy enough for a forklift or a pallet jack to pick them up. So it's a completely recyclable and reusable material. It's an ecologically sustainable thing to begin with. But you want to take it a step further than that. All the scrap wood that comes off of it, when it gets to the point where it's too trash to be rebuilt, and it can be rebuilt many, many times, but when that wood's finally too broken and chopped up to where it can be used as pallets, it can go in one of two directions. It can be cut up and used as firewood, which is still a sustainable natural thing, natural fuel, or it can be ground into sawdust, which again is a very natural thing. The sawdust that are used as a cleaning material, that are used as a foundational material, whatever. And then that sawdust, when chunked up plastic goes into the earth, it's polluting and damaging the earth. When chunked up sawdust goes into the earth, it's dead, decaying tree. That's a natural thing. It's coming from the earth. It's going back to the earth. So wood pallets are remarkably sustainable. And the guy who was looking at me as I was saying this was just like, his eyes got pie-eyed. And granted, that's one of my kind of autistic, giving too much information kind of moments. But to his credit, I forget who it was, but he listened to the whole thing and then looked at me. He started nodding his head, and he's like, I never thought of that, but that makes a lot of sense. I'm like, yeah, I spend way more of my time thinking about pallets than I should, but yeah, wood pallets are definitely the way to go. I mean, nothing against the plastic pallets, and I do my best to organize them or use them, but yeah, the wood is definitely the more sustainable item, even though it's kind of a pain in the ass to work with sometimes. Anyway, so back to the Gaylord dumpers. Yeah, those are between the dock I was working at and the other dock. And I see the ABM guys coming in. I say ABM guys because they wear a vest that says ABM. And then there's Phoenix is watering. Gotta love how the city of Phoenix, during a fucking water shortage that's making national news, feels the need to water the bike route. Thank you for that, City of Phoenix Parks Department. At least it's comforting to know that this is all gray water here. It's not drinking water being wasted. I'm pretty sure this is the same stuff that's used in the irrigation systems. We got a strong irrigation system in this part of town. I'm sure it's the same gray water from the irrigation system. But still, like, what's the point in spraying it on the goddamn walkway, creating a fucking slipping hazard for people that walk or take a bike? Not cool. I smell the smell of burning house. I had 2 houses burned down when I was a child. It's a smell once you've experienced, you never forget. And I smell burning house right now. Anyway, where was I? Oh, Filipino guy. So the ABM guys, I don't think they actually work for Amazon. I think they're a subcontractor. But that's their spot. That's where, like, their wood, all the stuff from the wood, all the stuff from the what they call the bad wood bins get dumped into a cardboard Gaylord, which gets brought to me on a pallet, and usually on a plastic pallet, actually, to go to the pallet shop, and they deal with it accordingly. And I've noticed the other pit drivers and inbound, when they're loading the wood pallet trailers, they just kind of put it wherever. I've kind of made a point to always put it in the back of the trailer. Now, they say when I load the trailers, the very back of the trailer needs to be 2 stacks of 10 pallets. So in front of those would theoretically be 2 stacks of 20 pallets, but almost every truck that I load, it ends up being 1 stack of 20 pallets and then a cardboard Gaylord full of scrap wood. That just seems to be the way. I figure it's helping the people at the it's helping the people at the pallet yard. As soon as they open that truck, they can be like, oh, wood bin, you know, and the forklift driver doesn't have to figure out what to do with it as he finds it in the middle of the truck. Like, he just sees it. He sees it right there, and he's like, okay, we got a wood bin here. So I always make a point to put it there. I've even had times when I've come in and day shift had already put it in the truck, but they hadn't blocked it with other pallets, and I roll them with the forklift and I take it out and I just kind of buffer it somewhere where it can sit and not be in the way. And then, in fact, since and I don't know if I explained the thing about how, like I said, not last week, but the week before, I only had one dock for outgoing wood. A forklift got stuck in a broken trailer. I'm so glad. It was like 3 Thursdays ago. So glad that I was hosting karaoke at Bullock's, because had I been the guy driving the forklift, I would have probably shit my pants and started crying like a baby. But it was a very experienced forklift driver that did it, and he said that he was going in to drop off a pile of 20 pallets, drop them off, and then as he was driving back out of the trailer, I'm talking like semi-trailers, and you get pulled behind semi trucks. As he was driving out of the trailer, the wheels of his forklift fell through the floor, and it just fell in. That just seems terrifying to me. But yeah, that trailer was stuck in the dock with the forklift stuck in the floor. I want to say like 5 days, maybe 6 days. And then there was another 2 days that they managed to get the forklift out of it, but they still had the red caution tape covering the door, still didn't have use of that dock. And you could shine a light in there and see the holes in the floor where the forklift had fallen through it. So, yeah, that's definitely the category of shit happens, but certainly somebody is responsible for inspecting the floor on those trailers and making sure that that's, you know, those floors at the bare minimum need to be solid and sturdy enough to support the weight of the forklift that's bringing freight in and out of it, because that's how they're used. God, look at all this water in the goddamn bike route. It kills me. City of Phoenix just can't build this and water it in such a way that it doesn't, like, they literally, Phoenix floods their own bike routes. It's ridiculous. So I'm gonna have to walk through fucking soggy grass or go through the puddles. Grr. That's a minor thing, but just still grr. Anyway, so I was trying to explain the thing. So they got the ABM's got a little area around it, and they got three crushers, disposers, and they have their own docks, which somehow take the crushed, compacted, and it's an automated thing. Somehow files it into trailers, and that gets hauled off to wherever it gets hauled off to. Cardboard to be recycled, garbage to be, put in a landfill somewhere. It's kind of sad, but everybody's generating garbage, and we generate a lot. So much plastic, plastic shrink wrap that gets around the pallets. I mean, it's just a lot of plastic, a lot of plastic, just garbage plastic. Anyway, at the other side of that is where the other dock is, as I explained in the video that I called the pallet game. There's the one by itself. So anyway, he was still, the Filipino guy, still on break. And I figured, well, until he gets back, I can just go over to his zone and kind of, whatever didn't get, kind of help him catch him up, work in his zone. And he came back and he started freaking out on me, but I couldn't hardly understand him because his English was not so good. But like, oh, no, safety, blah, blah, blah. You can't have two pits in can't have two forklifts in a single zone, blah, blah, blah. And I mentioned in that other video that, the work zones are partitioned by barriers. And yeah, I'm well aware you can't have two forklifts actively working in a single zone. I'm aware of that. You can have two forklifts in a single zone if one is working and another one is just simply traveling through that zone onto the next zone. There's a whole procedure for how it works. Basically, the one that is entering the zone has to honk his horn, get the attention of the guy that is working. The guy that is working needs to have his forks down and needs to be, I want to say 20 feet away. Either 20 feet away or on the opposite side of a barrier. And then he needs to basically wave to the other forklift driver that is passing through that, I see you, my forks are down, I'm stopped, come on through. And then that guy needs to sit still while the other forklift driver passes through passes through the zone and closes the barrier. Like generally they get out and close the safety barrier. Now most of the time, like when that's going on, maybe about half the time, like when that's going on, I'm doing wood pallets, I'll generally just step out of my forklift and head over and just work on stacking pallets, because like seems like a better use of time for me than just sitting in my forklift, like waiting for them to drive by. I can at least arrange some stacks of pallets and whatnot. And then since I'm already out of my pit and I'm on foot, I'll be like, I got your gate, bro. And then they just drive off. And they appreciate it, because there's a whole procedure for getting, the safety procedure for getting in and out of a forklift. And it involves setting the emergency brake and going from a 5-point stance to a 3-point stance to stepping out and doing the same in reverse. Like, it's a hassle. So if I'm already on foot and I'm a pedestrian, just, get 8 feet away from me, head in the opposite direction. That's that barrier. I'll close it. I got you, bro. So anyway, I'm not sure about the rules revolving around a parked forklift, but it would seem to me that a parked forklift is just a stationary object. Now, when I came into the zone where he had been working, that he had left on break, the way he parked his forklift is different than the way I always do it. What they've told me is just to park it in a way that it's not blocking a traffic route. So, behind the orange line, it's not blocking the through route. And forks down. If you're going to be more than, going to be away from it for more than a few seconds, completely turn it off. And, but yeah, set your emergency brake, bring your forks down. And if you're going to be gone away for more than a couple minutes, like you're actually like walking away from it to do other work, to put a cone between your forks. That way nobody inadvertently like just walks into the forks and trips. So always do that. He had actually left his, it wasn't blocking anything. I can't say blocked anything. It wasn't blocking anything. But he had a lot of stuff buffered out as far as out of the truck, but not into the loading zones. But to be fair, most of his loading zones were full. And when he left for his break, they probably were all completely full. But yeah, he left his forks under one of the buffered things of bins of the yellow tote bins. And it was a little awkward, but I was able to maneuver around it without much issue. And I took 2 of the totes that he had that were buffered there, and then I brought them into the far loadings. I adjusted all his gates based on which ones were full and which ones weren't full, because he had some that were full, but he hadn't opened the front gates. Open the front gate, that way the water spiders know they can come and get bins from there. And then I just kind of barely got started when he came back, but I moved 2 of the things of totes that he had buffered into the little tiny, small, difficult to get in loading zone that only holds 4. There's 2 on that side that only hold 4 things of bins. And I moved 2 in, and I had gone into the other truck, the one that is in a separate work zone, because you basically got 2 docks that are in the same work zone, and then there's another one that's separate, that's between those and the Gaylord dumpers, and there's a road that goes around where the Gaylord dumpers are over to where I was working yesterday afternoon. So I was going to that truck. Like he obviously hadn't even started on that track, which is fine. That one's difficult to get into when you're working on that side. And I pulled the come along straps off of them. I finally figured out how to work those. Go me. I pulled those off, put them in the box, and rolled them up correctly. And I had just barely unloaded those, and I was in the process of downstacking when he came in and started freaking out about, oh, no, safety, no 2 forklifts in the same work zone. His English is really bad. Like, I get there's not supposed to be 2 forklifts in one work zone, but I'm pretty sure if one is turned off and parked, especially with its forks down and under something, that doesn't count. That's just another stationary object in the zone. To be fair, the next time, probably Sunday night. Well, no, it won't be Sunday night because he doesn't work Sunday night, but probably Monday night. Anyway, the next time I see Angel, I do intend to ask him about that. So I think my interpretation is wrong, but hey, he's the head, he's the man. he's the man for that warehouse, at least night shift, that knows, what is and is not acceptable. And I'm always comfortable to bring a question to him about, hey, blah, 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 is this cool with safety rules? Like, how do I address this situation? Like, this is what I did. Was that right? Was that wrong? I know if I told him I did something wrong, like, he's not gonna held it against me, and he's like, well, this is what you should have done, but that wasn't a bad judgment call, and thanks, I'm glad you care, Dan. That's what I'm going to say. I'm just glad that you actually care. So I feel like I may make a little extra points with him every time I have one of these kind of conversations. But yeah, I am kind of curious. But I'm reasonably sure that a parked forklift is just considered as any other stationary object in a work zone. But boy, it sure had the Filipino guy like up in arms and freaking out. I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I was like, hey, it's okay, whatever. So, and at this point, and he's coming too close. He was coming closer to me than he should have been with me moving, like as I was down stacking. Like, I'm down stacking. My forks are up over 6 foot. Like, you should be 20 feet away from me while I'm down stacking. You don't even approach. You shouldn't be within a 20-foot radius until my forks are down. Don't come at me freaking out about a safety violation. Talk about safety violation, dude. My forks are up. Back the fuck up. I did see him earlier when I was walking with him, because I wasn't sure, the first time I needed a trailer changed out, I wasn't sure who to approach about TDR. So, like, he's working the area, so I asked him. Quickly found out that he didn't really know much and didn't speak much English either. But I asked him, since he was in the adjacent loading zone, hey, who do I talk to? Because I don't work this shift and I don't know. And he literally walked in the path of the forklift that was working in the next work zone over that was backing out of the loading zone. Now, and the gal that was driving that one, she's cute, by the way, young and cute. I think her name was, hang on, I remember her name. She was cute. Bree. Her name was Bree. Hispanic girl. She was nice. That's the first person I talked. Second person I talked to when I came in, I talked to the gal from HR, and then I came in and wasn't really sure what to do. And she was the first person I saw in the area that happened to be near where I was. And her name was Bree, and she kind of, anyway, yeah. So, so Bree's on the forklift, and she's actually loading product that is in the Amazon. I don't even know what the hell they're called, but the Amazon pallets with the blue frames around them, mixed pallets going out. And she was kind of showing me how I would do that, and said I would probably be doing that since somebody else was already doing totes. And I'm like, yeah, I don't really know how to do that, because part of it involved using a scanning gun, which I know my daughter Allison does. She's shown me some pictures of stuff that she does with a scanning gun. And I'm just like, I've never used one of those. I don't know how. And then she's showing me real quick, and I'm like, yeah, most of what you just did, I really didn't see it or understand it. I said, I'm not saying I can't learn it, but you're going to have to show me about 4 or 5 times. Like, the first few times, it takes me a while to catch on to stuff. And then anyway, when the PA finally came in, she was like, and I asked her about that. She said, like, no, I'll just set you up doing empty totes. She says, I mean, I can show you how to do that, but at this point, you before you can even sign in on a scanner gun, you have to have your permissions in the system change, and you have to go through the training. Like, learning has to do that. And I'm like, oh. So yeah, I've not been trained on that device. I don't know how to use that device. So apparently my ID will not log me into one of those. But hey, my ID logs me into a forklift, and that's what matters. So, and it's just fine. I was much happier doing totes anyway. But yeah, Bree was doing those, and she's coming out of a loading zone. Now, granted, in theory, the rule is you're always supposed to be looking in the direction that you're moving when you're in a forklift. But the reality is, when you're operating a forklift, you got to have your head on a swivel. Like, when you're dropping off cargo, and then you're pulling away from that cargo, yeah, you're going in the opposite direction and you're pulling away from that cargo, but your focus still kind of needs to be in the direction you're leaving, because you need to make sure that your forks have left whatever cargo you're leaving, which I made a hell of a mistake with that tonight. Like, it's real easy to be pulling your forks out on a forklift and not fully have your forks out. And yeah, at one point I was trying to pull my forks out of the totes, and I lifted up my forks a little bit. I thought my forks were out of the stack of 2 bins of totes, and they weren't. and I flipped him right the fuck over. I was like, oh, I just fucked up. And fortunately, the PA just happened to be right there, and she heard it go crashing down. No, I mean the yellow plastic totes at Amazon are pretty fucking indestructible. But I was just like, I'm like, oh fuck. Like I called that out pretty loudly. Like I'm not already drawing attention to myself, like fucking up, right? And then she's like, what? I'm like, I walked over. I like, I'm so sorry. I said I was raising my forks to downstack it, and I didn't realize I wasn't fully out. And I'm like, what now? And she goes, you're fine, you're okay. Like, I think by the proper rules, like she would have to fill out an incident report, and we'd have to get safety and do an investigation and blah, blah. There's not much to investigate. I didn't have my forks all the way out. I raised my forks. The tips of them were on it, and it flipped that shit over. And it's plastic, so it's fairly light plastic, so it flipped over easy. Yeah, she's like, you're fine. Maybe it was seen by the cameras. Maybe safety will get concerned about it. But as I said, I've got good friends in safety. I'm sure they looked at that and like, whatever, Dan's fine. There's outbound fluid, which is right next, which are people that are loading trucks without pallets, where it's just like loose boxes and they're configuring them inside a trailer. Those guys are buff. Holy Christ. Every guy that was working over there looked like a fucking weightlifter with fucking six packs and buff arms and stuff. And I'm like, can one of you guys help me? Because like, I mean, when I say that those things of those bins of totes are light, they're light by forklift standards. They're not light by skinny 51-year-old man needing to pick them up and flip them over. I can't flip them over myself. I can't, not with my hands. And once they've flipped over, I can't get my forklift under it. That's not happening. But yeah, one of the buff guys came over, and I kind of told him, like, hey, this is how we have to do it, because, yeah, I did that on Wednesday too. But on Wednesday, it was a different situation. It was hit by the nipple in the truck. I might explain that later. But that I contend wasn't my fault. What happened today, definitely my fault. But whenever mistakes happen, it wasn't a major mistake, and it was certainly a no harm, no foul kind of thing. But yeah, a guy came over, and him and I were able to flip those upright pretty easily. But boy, was I scared. Like, the last thing I want to do is lose my forklift operator permissions and then have to be investigated by safety over a fucking flip. But anyway, so when you're pulling out, like, you should be looking in the direction you're going. But on the same token, when you're pulling out, you do need to watch your forks and make sure that you're coming out of what you're coming out of. And when you're coming out of like a tight loading zone, I mean, you need to kind of watch where you're at. You got to have your head on a swivel. Anyway, the Filipino guy literally like ran right in front of her as she was coming out. She nearly hit him. It's like, it's kind of funny, like, this guy's trying to lecture me on safety rules, particularly saying, well, we can't have two pits in the same zone. Dude, yours is parked. It's not an operating pit. It's a fucking stationary object. I don't think stationary object was in his English vocabulary. Not saying that to diss him. I mean, the guy's he doesn't have he doesn't speak English. It is what it is. By the way, I'm in front of Phoenix Flower Shops. Yeah, I used to work there. I don't anymore. And they had a fire recently. Used to be windows all the way across the front of the building, but you notice at this side of the building there's no windows. And I find it interesting what they've done to keep the place in operation. The building used to come all the way here where this fence is. Well, I mean, there was like warehouse there. Obviously, they've had to downsize their operation, but I mean, after COVID,